We are following breaking news now from Maine. State police have made an arrest in connection with the killing of this paddleboarder. We're told a 17-year-old male was arrested without incident in the town of Union. He's charged in the death of Sunny Stewart, seen here. Her body was found during a search of Crawford Pond July 3rd. The medical examiner's office says she died of strangulation and blunt force trauma. If you have any information about this case, call Maine State Police.
Welcome back to Crawlspace and Missing. We wanted to update our audience on what has been happening in the murder of Sunshine Stewart from Crawford Pond in the town of Union in the state of Maine. And a shocking arrest has been made. Lance, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. This is information that is really welcome because we're talking about this New England serial killer. We're going to get into it more during the actual conversation that you and I are going to have in this episode, but it's a direct result of the New England serial killer rumors that have been swirling around. This is kind of amazing that they caught somebody so quick in connection to this tragic murder.
Yeah, absolutely. We will get into it in just a few minutes. But before that, we have a couple of quick announcements. And the first is we are going to be speaking about the New England serial killer story at CrimeCon 2025 in September in Denver, Colorado. And you can use code Crawlspace to get 10% off your ticket when you order at crimecon.com.
Right, and we're going to be speaking with Joseph Scott Morgan, the death investigator, very popular in the true crime community. And just by analyzing the victims in the series of bodies that were found in the New England serial killer phenomenon, I think that's going to be very insightful for everybody who's considering whether or not this is something that is actually a thing. So, yeah, look forward to seeing everybody there and checking out that session with us and Joseph Scott Morgan.
All right, we'll see you there. And we just wanted to make sure that our Apple listeners know that we are now a video show on Spotify. So if you're just listening to us, you could be listening and watching us on Spotify. We also have a YouTube presence, and we've also got a new premium service. So if you like ad-free episodes of Missing in Crawlspace, you can become a member on YouTube, a patron on Patreon, or a premium subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
Don't make me regret buying all these new plain black t-shirts. Check us out. Watch us in person.
All right, we're going to take a break quick for commercial, and we'll be right back to speak about the murder of Sunshine Stewart and the arrest of 17-year-old Deven Young.
And a thank you to our sponsors. Back to the program.
Okay, back here on Crawlspace and Missing. So, Lance, early on the evening of July 2nd, 2025, 48-year-old Sunshine Stewart went paddleboarding on Crawford Pond. And she was well-versed with the water. She was a captain, a lobsterman, had a great history of being connected to the water. And this is such a strange place for a murder to occur. And I know we were really confused about how all that worked in the last time we spoke about this. And there's not too much more clarity on the situation, but probably a little bit. And certainly a lot about Sunshine's killer. It does seem like Sunshine Stewart was found strangled and bludgeoned to death on 100 Acre Island, which is inside Crawford Pond.
When we first heard about this, one of our major questions, like you said, was how does this even take place mechanically? How does it take place physically? How does somebody who is experienced in the water end up in a situation like this? And after seeing the individual who's been apprehended and charged, 17 years old, Deven Young, going to be charged as an adult. So that's a conversation that we can have maybe with somebody who's more legally minded, who's handled how and when to charge people as adults. But
yeah, just a note on that. Prosecutors have moved to try him as an adult, but that's not official as of right now.
Okay, so move to try him as an adult. So the consideration to do so, I just would love to know, and we can get into it later, I would just love to know what the criteria is, how bad or how significant the crime has to be. But anyway, what I was getting at was how capable we all said Sunshine Stewart is or was on the water. She was a captain lobsterman. I guess it doesn't matter because she ended up in a situation where she was overpowered by this really large individual, even though he's 17 years old. Something happened where he had taken control of her. Would it have happened outside of an area that had water? If she hadn't been paddleboarding, had he been stalking her? Would he have just found her eventually? I know this all sounds really dark, but was it an opportunity? Was he waiting for her? So identifying the mechanics on how this happened is going to be really, really fascinating to understanding how this kid's mind was working. You know what I mean? Like,
I do. Yeah.
If he was just hanging out and saw an opportunity, maybe made a pass and she rejected him, things escalated, that's one thing. But if he was stalking her, that's really, really interesting how this all played out.
Yeah, there is some more from the mainstream media that has come out this week. There was a woman named Catherine Lunt who owns the campground, Micmac Campground, right in that area. And so she was actually integral in the investigation and finding out that Deven Young was the alleged murderer of Sunshine Stewart. She did give a bunch of quotes, and I think we'll probably play some clips from some interviews that she's given. It doesn't seem like he stalked her necessarily or knew her or had any interaction with her before this. And I do want to say, as far as Young being tried as an adult, he is turning 18 in September, so just a couple of months away. People will get charged as an adult if they're 18, essentially. So anyone under 18, you may be charged as a juvenile, but when it's such a violent murder like this, and this, again, you mentioned this Deven Young's size. I don't know how big he is, but he looks very tall, a big kid. Does not look like your average 17-year-old kid. This guy looks much taller than both of us, Lance, and just like weighs, an extra, I don't know, like I'm like 180 or something, probably is over 200. He's not like a obese kid, but he's like tall and just a big kid.
Yeah, he's imposing. If the pictures that I see, I'd be thinking that that's an imposing person. And you're right. There was no indication that she was being stalked by this kid, but maybe no one knew. This could be just something he had kept to himself.
Yeah, it is strange. So this Catherine Lunt has given some information and said that Sunshine Stewart had left her purse in her car, the car windows open. She had gone out before dusk, had not returned, and this woman, Lunt, noticed on her security camera system that Sunshine Stewart's friend was searching the waterfront around midnight. And so Catherine went out there to check as well. They both could not find Sunshine Stewart. They could not find the paddleboard and the paddle. So she was nowhere to be found. So that was when police were called. That was, I guess that would be the late night of July 2nd into July 3rd, 2025. They thought that maybe she had been hit by a boat, and that's why she had not returned. The next day, there was a large search of the area, and they actually were able to locate Sunshine that next day. So 2 local residents found Sunshine's blue paddleboard, which then helped direct police's attention to the area where her body would be found shortly after. And then that's where Catherine Lunt really came in, because so they found Sunshine Stewart, and that's where we had started speaking about this in this series, Lance. Obviously no one knew who had killed her at that point. So Catherine Lunt went back over all of her security footage. She has 16 angles, so 16 different cameras. So that's pretty great eye in the sky to sort of see the surrounding areas. I believe they did see Sunshine Stewart on the cameras leaving. They did see a young man, this 17-year-old, heading out there as well after her, not long after her, and he returned before dark.
And we'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
Thanks to our sponsors, and now we're back to the program.
I know every vehicle that comes in this campground. I know every camper. I know where they work. I know what they do for a living. I decided that it was best for me to review the footage because I was looking for a stranger, somebody out of the ordinary.
Do you think that there's something else that they have on him? Because you and I both know how much it takes to arrest somebody and charge them with murder. I mean, we've talked about people who have been found and, there's literally a blood trail to the person who's clearly done it, but law enforcement doesn't want to jeopardize anything by being too hasty with their charging of murder. I'm wondering if there were some maybe hunting cameras, not specifically for hunting, but outdoor cameras that were on the 100-acre island that specifically show the act of murder there. That could be, without a question, this individual, because they're risking a lot, don't you think? They're risking a lot by taking into custody a 17-year-old for this.
Yeah, they seem to have probable cause. Now, I'm not sure what that probable cause is.
Right.
But they did mention that they had that. So, yeah, so it's interesting. So I'm not sure exactly what it is. But I also think that Deven Young himself, so he actually took police out on the water. He took them apparently out on his boat. 2 police officers, an investigator and the warden, out on the water. And he had said he had some information. And he apparently took them in the opposite direction of where Sonny was found. So I gather that he was trying to throw the investigation off, and that would have been before she was found, I'm guessing, or potentially not, but at least he's kind of going down a different avenue intentionally. And so because he said he had something to show them. And so the quote from Catherine Lunt was he took them on a wild goose chase. So something in that interaction, I don't know how long that took, half hour, or whatever it was, but something in that time period must have clued investigators into this guy, this kid might be the guy.
Yeah, it might just have been like, there's nothing here. Why would this kid tell us to go in this area and search and waste time to find nothing? And it could just be in his demeanor where he might say after, I guess whatever I saw isn't here anymore. I mean, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah, I mean, we always hear that, killers or people who were involved will try to help with the investigation, right? That's kind of almost like a cliche at this point, but it's a cliche because it's true. And it seems to have happened here with Deven Young as well. But yeah, we don't know too much more about that. I wish we did, and I'm sure we will learn more at subsequent hearings. I believe his next hearing is August 22nd of 2025. He has not pled guilty. He has entered a denial at this point. In his first court appearance last Friday, he entered a denial.
I mean, he's being instructed by his attorney, obviously, on the best course of action here, and that seems like it would make sense. I was just looking at some articles that were written and trying to get an idea of what this person was like. There's so much conflicting information. There's a report from one of his best friends from childhood. This person told the Bangor Daily News that he had never seen Young bully people. But in the same sentence, it goes on to say another person said Young would bully kids since preschool. So I am really not sure what to believe here. There's also other writings that account for him torturing animals, which is one of those classic earmarks of somebody who's going to escalate into something more dangerous. I'm not saying that he did this. I'm saying these are the reports that are out there, and they're conflicting. Some pictures make him look like this lovable kid, hanging out with family. And then other pictures have him with this gigantic rifle, ready to shoot somebody who comes on the property.
So that was posted by him to Facebook after Sunshine Stewart was murdered.
Yes.
That photo of him with the big rifle in his lap. Yeah.
Is that a message? Like, what is this? Like, this is after do you think that he's done this before?
Well, geez, that's tough to say. I mean, I wouldn't know. I'd have to look at other unsolved murders or missing people in Maine in that area. He doesn't have too much life experience to have done much more. Catherine Lunt there said he had been acting normal. He had been asking people if they needed help around the campground, actually specifically with their pets and things like that. Apparently trying to be helpful to and neighborly around the campground, which is a little strange. Almost seems conflicting too. And so his family had first camped at Micmac during the 24 summer season, so last year, and they returned this year. Apparently his grandparents had a site there previously and had visited as well.
I don't know, the calm demeanor that seems to be present in the 17-year-old is unsettling to me. I haven't seen him in person. I haven't seen him give a statement. I've only seen pictures, and I've only read quotes from people in articles. So that's why I'm saying the calm demeanor that is seemingly apparent. I could be totally wrong, but that picture of him posing with a gun after he strangles and bludgeons somebody and then taking police, even interacting with police in the search, doesn't strike me as somebody who is scared to death about getting caught. It just makes me think that there's something deeper there.
There's something very strange psychologically there, and I'm not schooled enough to speak about that. But yeah, it's strange. So Catherine Lund said that he was always offering to help others with their yard work or loose pets. He'd even made wood crafts to give other campers, and he liked to go out in his little boat.
I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure if Sunshine knew him, but according to Kathleen Lunt, she had seen Deven in his aluminum boat traveling to the island, and that was what was on camera, right? And then she saw Sunshine head out on her paddleboard in the same direction, basically right behind him.
Was it behind him or in front of him? I couldn't tell.
I'm just looking at an article that has her not following him, but in the same path, like he went first.
Yeah, strange. I don't know. It must have been an opportunistic thing for Deven Young. Makes you wonder how long he had, wanted to do that or tried to put himself in the position where he could do that and potentially get away with it. I mean, he did get away with this for 2 weeks, not a long period of time. And actually that same day that investigators spoke with him he was arrested that night. So it was something that was communicated back and forth between Young and the police officers that, I don't know, I guess gave them probable cause.
Yeah. The fact that he even did this with cameras around, he knew Micmac Campground. He wasn't unfamiliar with it. If he had been planning this, he knew that they were cameras. He had to know that they were cameras.
Yeah, good question. I don't know.
I mean, he goes out on the boat. Sunshine is behind him. Again, I don't know if this was prearranged or if she knew that he had gone out. Maybe she saw him in the boat in the distance. I mean, there's probably other boaters out there, maybe not at the time, but she probably didn't think anything was weird having somebody on a boat in that pond. But he goes out, she goes out, he comes back, she doesn't come back. That's enough to go up to the kid and say, what happened here? And yeah, like you said, that's just my backing up your point of like, what did he say at that point? Was he just like, lawyer? I want a lawyer?
No, I think it was quite the opposite. I think he must have lied to them about whatever information he claimed to have. He apparently was, so this is what Catherine Lund said, that they were speaking for a few hours with him. So I gather I don't want to say use the word interrogate, but it sounds like they interviewed him that day and then arrested him late that night after they probably went back to the police station and talked it over and decided they did have probable cause. I feel like the Maine State Police wouldn't do this out of emotion. Like, this is a 17-year-old kid. They know this is going to make huge headlines. So I would bet that they had pretty good probable cause for why they arrested him that night, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going to do that if it's a 30-year-old guy or whatever. They're not going to question and charge somebody so quickly without having something that's so solid that they're confident that it's going to stick. I mean, it jeopardizes everything.
Yeah, and especially with this larger story of the New England serial killer being something that, has been connected with the Sunshine Stewart in these articles, at least.
I'm so glad we're not hearing that right now. I'm so glad there's no headline saying that.
Fair question, though, if he could have had other victims, because this does seem like such a rare thing to happen that, maybe he's got that personality type that is so feared.
And we'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
Thanks to our sponsors, and now we're back to the program.
The fact that this individual was in this campground for 2 weeks is haunting. He was not on anyone's radar. That whole week he was offering campers help with different tasks that they were doing. He acted like nothing ever happened.
I mean, there's a lot of information out there, and I'm not saying that it's all factual, but there's information out there saying he came from an abusive home where he saw his father abuse his mom and even threaten her with a shotgun at one point in a drunken argument. That is not something that's been proven. I just want to put that out there that I'm not saying it happened, but if it did happen and there are accounts that it did happen, I don't know if it's true, but he does have all of the, again, earmarks of somebody who will grow up to be somebody dangerous and take that violence to another level, escalate the violence. It's kind of textbook here.
Yeah, it kind of is. My gosh. Well, I really want to learn more about this. There's no motive, no known motive at this point. We may not get any kind of motive until this goes to trial, because it seems like Young is going to plead not guilty. So I don't know. I don't know what the motive would be at this point. Just opportunity, it seems like. Which, again, harkens back to that personality type that we're talking about.
I wonder if the motive can be as simple as he made an advance on her and she rejected him.
But she was like 30 years older than him. I don't think too many 17-year-olds, out there, looking for women in their mid to late 40s, some, sure. But, this kid was only 17.
I really, really feel for the family, Sunshine's family, because that ever elusive closure, like, is this closure or not? Because doesn't feel like it. It feels like an answer. It feels like about 60% of an answer to what happened, but what would be closure? Him being convicted, going away for life. Also, speaking of going away for life, depending on what they actually have on him, if it's absolutely ironclad, his lawyer better tell him to plead guilty. Plead guilty, and then, you're only 17, going on 18. You could, even if you get 25, even if you serve 25 years, you're still going to come out and have some semblance of a life. Like, if he pleads not guilty and he's found guilty, then that's probably life without parole. Yeah,
very possible. That's a good point.
His lawyer should say, plead guilty, make the jury have pity on you, make the court have pity on you. To be a upstanding citizen in prison, and you'll be out in 15 to 20 years. I don't know. I'm sure there's people out there just shaking their heads at what I just said. I'm sure there's a lot of legal stuff that I have no clue about, but that just feels like something that if you're defending him, that feels like take the loss and get the best out of it.
Yeah, he's got so much life left, you would think, at only 17. Yeah, he would probably get out at some point.
But does someone like this get rehabilitated?
Oh, that's another tough one. Another one I'm not studied on enough to really answer that. But I'm going to say no in this case. I think yes in some cases, but I don't know about this kid. On one hand, I'm like, well, he's 17. We've all done dumb things when we were a teenager and, things we wouldn't do later in life. But that's also like part of the problem here. Is like he killed someone or allegedly killed someone at 17. I'm not sure if you're going the other way there. Like you might only get deeper down that dark rabbit hole,
Yeah, and the way he killed her. I don't want to get graphic, but if you kill somebody by shooting them, it's very impersonal, and you can have that moment get away with you, or get away from you. You can have your emotions get away from you if you're in this like blind rage and you have a weapon and you fire that weapon at somebody and it kills them. But if you're hitting somebody in the head and then strangling them, that's just rage all over, and and then you're trying to cover it up, and then you're trying to finish the job because you can't let the person live at that point. Like, that is a horrific crime. Does someone like that get rehabilitated?
Yeah, I don't know. But I do know that Catherine Lunt and Sunshine Stewart's sister, Kim Ware, they want Sunshine to be remembered as a true ray of sunshine and a force to be reckoned with. And quote here from Catherine Lunt, she was a beautiful individual who was just going out for a paddle and never came back. It's not fair. And the Micmac family and entire Mid-Coast Maine community plans to hold a celebration of life on Sunday, August 10th. And even lobster boats from the surrounding area are invited to take part in a captain's salute to honor Sunshine Stewart.
I love that. I loved reading that they're going to salute a fellow captain. I think that's so great. Good for them for organizing that. It'd be amazing if we could make our way out there, but part of me is like, let them have their thing. We're not connected in any way to, the family or friends, but I would love to watch it from a distance and just know that, all these people here are meaning the best and they really want to have a proper send-off for someone who meant a lot to them.
Okay, everyone. Thanks a lot for listening to this special episode today. We will be back with more breaking information as it comes. So we appreciate you sticking with us. Thanks for listening.
She was just a shining light that was so excited to be here and enjoy her summer. Somebody lost their life, a beautiful individual just going out for a paddle and never came back, and that's not fair.